everyone. This is the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us this week, Bradley Ellis.
Hello.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Hey.
And Brandon Jones.
Hi.
No Ian Hink. We're going to look and sound how we're going to look and sound, and that's just that.
Locked in.
Yeah, lock that in. It's time to play Glenny's Cauldron. This is, of course, a segment in which we select some ingredients for our witch friend Glenny, who's trying to develop a most vile video game. She trusts us to go to the shops and pick the right ones. Our patrons are the people who sell us ingredients. Good news, everybody. Today, Glenny gave us 2 doubloons. So we're going to step inside of 3 shops and pick 2 ingredients.
Okay.
Whoa.
Yes.
Calm down here.
Is Glenny crunching? I don't want Glenny to crunch.
Glenny is honestly crunching.
Okay.
And I told her about like what Kassarar has been saying, and so because she wants to catch up to Kassarar,
Oh, no.
yeah, she sold some of her newts, and we have 2 doubloons this week.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotta make them count.
So from Bobby Wasabi, the ingredient we have to buy is that the game has a hunger meter. Every time your character is hungry, a loud stomach grumbling sound effect will play. The sound effect can drown out important pieces of dialogue or other important sounds.
Yeah.
Don't get hungry.
Don't get hungry. From David Curtis, every time you move off screen, the enemies instantly respawn, Ninja Gaiden NES style. I hate that. Hate that big time. Lastly, from King Doug 87, no buildings can be entered. Anytime you attempt to enter one, your character will say, "It's not the right time for that." So again, that's hunger meter. That's enemies respawning as soon as they're off cam. And it's not the right time for that. You cannot enter any buildings.
I think we're gonna run into problems with the enemy thing because our game it's not a side-scrolling Ninja Gaiden style game.
Yeah.
Because we have like the sight of spikes and things like that. You know, that like to me make me think more of 3D. So
What? Spikes are in 2D games?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Spikes were made in 2D games.
Yeah.
But it really does lock it in because imagine a third-person game where you're spinning the
Everyone
camera
behind
around
you
and
respawns. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the respawning one as much as the others. I think that
The other 2 are also really good.
the other one with the buildings is pretty awful.
Wait, so you're saying it's not bad for enemies to respawn when they're off cam?
I don't think it's as big of a deal.
I guess this guy grew up in the NES era.
He did.
Yes, we all did.
I mean, that was a strategy, man. It's just a farm, just like hit him, hit him, hit him. All right, I got all the health I need now.
I have been known to farm in a Mega Man game using this method.
Yes.
Yeah, but I like it. Just kind of like it bugs me that like there's no like why are there these many enemies in this? Like it's completely context breaking. Anytime an enemy respawns just because you moved off cam makes me so mad, especially when it's just a little bit. It's like you're back. Ninja Gaiden is hard because of that. I hate it. And you're telling me no big whoop. You're telling me you'd
Is this
rather
a 2D game? Are we making a 2D game here? What kind of game are we making?
We'll figure it out when we're done. I
We're
guess.
gonna figure that out when we're done.
Kyle is not worried.
This is important, man. Because
Why?
like if a 3D game, it's not. I don't think it'd be as bad with the enemies going.
It'd be way worse.
That no,
yeah.
if
No,
you
it
like
could get around
potentially
it.
be way
Yeah.
and you
worse.
turn again, are you talking about like that, or if you
Yes.
like
Yes.
zone out of
No,
something?
no.
No. If you look left after you just killed an enemy and look back right, he's standing upright, dude. He's back.
Okay, then we definitely want that. We don't want that. That's bad.
Right. I think that's a good ingredient.
It's bad in like a really
Yeah.
sloppy way, though. You know what I mean? It's like if you really want to disappoint, if you want to break somebody's spirit, you know, you don't annoy them, you don't come at them all the time. You wait. You know, you slowly, grind them down, and
Right.
and that's why that's what I always go for. These things that like the double jump, we have that right where it just doesn't work.
Yeah, the
sometimes,
waterfalls.
You know, like
I get what you
these
mean, yeah.
these things are just waiting to trip you up in the game, whereas that's just all over the place and so annoying. I don't know.
My other thing is pair again with what I was talking about farming. Like if you pair that with the hunger meter, it can kind of deflate the use of the hunger meter because you can just farm for either gold or food by just keep killing enemies in one spot over and over, and then you never hear you get yourself get hungry.
But what if they don't drop items or food? What if we program not to give you any of that?
I don't know.
That is, to me, perfectly reasoned. Like, we can't have both of those ingredients in the same game because Blood's right. You would farm the meat. Oh my God, that Blood, it's so funny that you had that foresight. I kind of feel like you're right, man. I'm with you. Brad, are you convinced? Are you convinced that the things we should buy are can't enter buildings, which we haven't really discussed yet, but I think we all agree is awful, and also the grumbling?
There needs to also, I mean, if we're going to talk about like what we're going to design on top of these horrible things, there need to be doorways all over the place.
To restaurants.
Constant
Not only
doorways.
that, there needs to be like a big temple with a huge arch,
Yes.
just wide open, and you can't cross the threshold.
Yeah. And like a bakery with a window that says free food. And you just can't.
Lots of like opening soon signs and stuff.
About the building one, I'm just picturing like our level just being the first stage from Rondo of Blood with the town on fire. Like we don't need to go in those buildings. We don't want to go in those buildings.
You're
We're
going to
cool
want to
with
go
that.
in these buildings.
Yeah.
I'm not going to want to go in a building, Jones, with fire going.
Yeah.
But what if your character also says it's not time for that?
Great. Because it's never time for that. Don't go in burning buildings.
It's not the right time for that. Excuse me. I want to get that quote right. So, Brad, are you not sold, man? We have to be unanimous for us to spend our
I
doubloons.
don't know, dude. These all suck.
That's the
They're all
idea.
good picks, I
Yeah.
know. The hunger meter's really funny to me.
Yeah,
because I know
I think
when
that's
you
a lot.
crank that thing, like you get hungry fast
Okay.
in our game.
Sure. So, Bobby Wasabi, we're giving you one doubloon.
Okay.
But, Brad, the thing is, I think we cannot combine
right.
the off-screen
All right.
enemies with the hunger
With like
meter. I
you
think
on here
blood-
who love like bathrooms and interiors, yeah,
Yes.
I think it's we have to. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so, King Doug, we're taking the not being able to enter a building. Thank you to everybody who offered us some ingredients. It's now time for corrections. Begin corrections, music, please. Ceaseless discharge. We have a nice discussion about.
This one.
So, you don't need to kill ceaseless
He can
discharge.
kill himself.
Because wait, what, Brad?
Yeah, if you go to, or you can kill him in one
This all
hit.
started when you were talking about ceaseless discharge. I don't think Brad gets to talk about this anymore.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
This is a correction to a correction made.
It used to be able to lure him to the edge of like the fog gate and have him like stretch over, and you could hit him, and he'd just fall and die.
Oh wow. No one in the comments mentioned this, dude.
No.
That's even sadder. Because apparently, Brad, if you have like stats and armor, you can just roll through the lava and just bypass him entirely.
Yeah, I think he's
But like you need a very specific like build to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And strats.
Yeah, he used to do like the reach thing at the end. You had to lure them over there. It was like tricky to do. It might not be in the game anymore though,
It's just a big thing of lava. How does it fall off a cliff?
because there's a big pit.
All right. Where's the center of gravity? Like at what point does a big lump of lava fall
So there's
off of
like,
a cliff?
from what I remember, there's like lava going or whatever, hot rock, whatever he's walking on, then just like
Yeah.
a lava waterfall going down to abyss. If I remember correctly.
Valve's VR games will be available on Rift and Vive as well. They will not be exclusive to the Index.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it is
say
interesting
why?
because they like why? I guess because they're completely about being an open platform on PC.
That's an interesting take from looking at the current VR industry, because like certainly Oculus is, Oculus and Vive I think have like lightened up a little bit in terms of their exclusivity. Even PSVR, to see stuff like we go to other platforms.
Astrobot did never.
No, yeah.
But and also about the Index, it's not the most expensive VR headset you can buy. There is a Vive Pro that I was not aware
Oh,
of.
right.
That is more expensive than the Index, but apparently a little worse. Not as good as the Index.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see it. Right, the Index doesn't exist yet.
Well, we won't see because we won't get either of those.
It's true.
Okay, so Blitz the League, that was on PS2, Xbox, and Xbox 360, but not on PS3. Blitz the League 2 is on PS3 and Xbox 360.
There it is.
And correction music. None of them available on PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I do have an update. I love updates. The director of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, Jeff Fowler, was aware of the negative backlash that happened last week. He wrote a tweet. Thank you for the support and the criticism. The message is loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design and you want changes. It's going to happen. Everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be. Ellipsis. Hashtag Sonic movie. Hashtag gotta fix fast. Use that hashtag, everybody. Gotta fix fast. Really interesting. I think drawing Paramount in there, to me, the read I have on that tweet, this director is also not happy with how Sonic looks,
Right.
but the studio had an impression of what Sonic should look like. I think this director showed the studio, hey, look at all these tweets, look at all these things. People are mad at the Sonic. And that's the impression I get from that tweet. Like saying like, Paramount really wants Sonic to look good is like, that's talking to the executives. That's throwing them under the bus a little bit. But that's making them look like, yeah, we have to be the good guys. But anyway, there will be some graphical change to Sonic's design before that movie comes out.
Do you think this started back with the posters and the leaks? That he's just now saying it to where like, hey guys, get like an alternate version ready.
Yeah.
This doesn't look good.
Yes.
And then like got
They were
the
like,
green light.
when they
Yes.
see the trailer, they'll turn around. You know, they'll realize how good it is. When
It's
that trailer
testing
comes out.
incredibly well.
And then no.
Yeah. Right? Like, there had to be some dumb focus group who's like, I like the small-eyed Sonic. Like, there
Yeah.
was a focus group for this. I like the gross Sonic. I'm like, okay.
Or just an art department that's just completely outside of the type of people that are producing Sonic games, you know, that are just like, this character looks terrible, you know, like this doesn't fit with your traditional sense of animation or whatever. I don't
Yeah,
know.
because it's that, Jones. It's not just terrible video game-wise. It's terrible movie, design-wise.
Yes.
It's a very nasty,
You don't
bad-looking
want to look
creature.
at it.
Yes.
Just like, no, thank you.
Like, that thing's not, like, look at, there's no Pixar thing that looks that gross.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
It's probably some DreamWorks
You know-
stuff, though.
You gotta dig deep.
You know that
corrections on that.
here's another thing I think's funny. Like there's that movie out right now called Ugly Dolls.
Yes.
Those things are adorable.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it kind of
Sonic belongs in Ugly Dolls.
I think they do.
Got him.
Blood, you got him. News this week. I have to mention, as I sometimes have to do, that we're recording this podcast on a Tuesday.
I just have to stop you. That's going to go so horribly. We're going to get some new Sonic, and that's going to be terrible. They're going
Right.
to fix anything.
Jones,
Oh, yeah.
it like, to me, it can't
I
get
just
any
want to make
worse.
sure
Yeah.
we're all prepared for just, this is going to go poorly on every single, it's going to be even worse than the thing that we originally
I'd be
saw.
kind of into that more.
Because, like,
Sonic, like, oh, what a ride.
it has to be, like,
Sorry to
the
cut
same
you off.
height, right? It has to have the same eye line, because Marsden's looking at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's...
What if they just give him the Sonic Boom bandana and call it a day?
Call it a day. Give him some, like, bandages around
They're
his
going to add
wrist.
some joke at the last minute of him making fun of himself or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some carry line.
I look weird.
Yeah, in VO after the fact.
Like, teeth. I think you could fix the teeth. I think that's actually
Yes.
an easy fix. Go
Sure.
for it.
Yeah.
We are recording before State of Play, which will apparently have a new game announcement, maybe some really cool updates to some other games. We are recording this before the Ghost Recon announcement, so we don't really know what that new game's going to be either.
And Monster Hunter update.
And a Monster Hunter update, so stay tuned for those things next week. But yeah, this is a Tuesday podcast. Sometimes we get the news fresh. Sometimes we get,
A little rotten.
little stale, the back of the bakery. News this week, pretty slim. We're going to do a special podcast, but I want to talk a little bit about some headlines that aren't fully fledged podcast subjects. EA Access coming to PlayStation 4.
Oh, I didn't know this.
yeah, it
yes.
was announced this morning.
That is, it's been on Xbox One. EA, it's something else on PC, but very similar, where you have
Origin
Origin
Access,
Access. Thank you. You have a vault of EA games that you get to play for free. You get early access to all EA games, and you get 10% discount on all digital purchases within these games.
The announcement is so low key.
Yes.
They did not reference that. Hey, we worked out a deal or anything like that. They're just like, oh, it's on PlayStation now. Here you go.
It was, Blood, it was interesting because originally it's not on PlayStation because Sony said no. But there was kind of no indication in EA's press release that's like, hey, we finally worked out a deal. It's like, hey, we're proud to bring it to PlayStation 4. I don't know if anything really more needed to be said, but
Right,
hey, that's $5 a month, $30 for a year. And hey, do you know when EA Access launched? Do you know when it came to Xbox One?
2014?
2014. How crazy is that?
What game
Yeah.
was
Well,
that
I was
for?
reading about it earlier today. It wasn't off the top of my head to that degree.
And so, like, it's been around for a while. I don't know why Sony said yes this year and not others, but hey, it's there now. Yeah, sure, exactly, right? Like, that's
Hands were shook. somewhere.
Yep.
Is there anybody else in that position that would want to bring something like that to PS4 that hasn't been able to? Is that some rule that they said will apply generally to everyone? Like, get your Uplay out of here. We don't want any, Or is it
No,
just
Uplay's there.
between Sony and
Uplay's
EA?
not a pay for that I can think of.
Yeah, Ubisoft does not yet have a similar service where, like, hey, get the whole vault, baby.
Right.
Wonder about that Stadia though. That's gonna be weird.
Stadia on consoles? Mm-hmm. Sure, dude. I guarantee Sony will say no. Borderlands 3 had like a gameplay reveal last week. I don't know if there's Blood. What is the headline? We work for the Hollywood Reporter. What is the headline from that event?
I mean, the headline is that the game feels real good and
Borderlands 3
you
feels
get to go to
real
like
good.
a lot more worlds. I
I'm
think
the
it's probably
editor
the
of
bigger
Hollywood
thing.
Reporter.
Borderlands 3 back.
You get
bigger,
to go to a lot
faster,
more worlds
better
is
than
the
ever.
headline. Yeah. I think like maybe the interesting like innovative thing that came out is like the Twitch stuff that they're doing. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, the I didn't really dig into exactly like how that works, but yeah, basically somehow by watching streams, like you can interact with them and then you can get loot. So like people have already like piled up a bunch of loot for when they buy Borderlands 3 later this year.
Yeah, but also I mean like what's cool and like what I hope to see way more of in the future is that you can also you have immediate access to the person who's streaming's like inventory and loadouts and skill tree. And so instead of asking like, hey, what gun are you using? You can just like click and you can see exactly what kind of gun they're using and what skills they've already selected.
Which is funny because you can't really get the guns you see from other people in an easy way.
Right. But you at least see the stats. You see
Sure.
like what kind of gun they're dealing with and stuff like that. Like Destiny that would be great for Destiny. Such an integration.
They don't have like an armory thing like that where you could see people's gear.
Not just like in the Twitch window. You know what I mean? Like that's what's
gotcha,
sick about
gotcha,
it. Like I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty good. Let me see what he's got. You know, like that could be like implemented.
It was a really deep dive. They brought about 800 people through because they had 4 sessions. They had 2 on press day and 2 on the reveal day. And so each one had like 200 something PCs set up.
Ooh.
Yeah, man. The views on Twitch were insane.
Yeah.
We're 6 figures, man. It's just like E3 status. Like basically they got more views than.
Dude, Borderlands is huge.
Dude, it is enormous.
It's been a long
Stage
time.
demo was
Yeah.
about an hour, and the hands-on was about 90 minutes or so.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Big event for them last week. Not crazy news-wise. Where I want to start our news discussion this week is with Capcom, who recently ended their own fiscal year. Huge.
Well deserved.
Profits up. Profits up, in fact, so high that it's a record year. The most profits ever in a fiscal year.
Nice.
Fiscal year 2018. What I want, maybe it's fiscal year 2019. I actually don't know how those work out. It's crazy to me. Basically, Resident Evil 2, above expectations. Devil May Cry 5, performed well. Monster Hunter World, still performing. And just like a bunch of the other games, like Mega Man 11, that's just doing well. So Capcom had a record year this past 12 months. And so what I thought would be fun to do, this is me trying out a podcast template. Maybe we'll do this once, maybe we'll do it several times. I want to look at all of Capcom's games throughout this console generation. So starting in November of 2013 and moving forward, what Capcom did this generation. Because I think it's kind of a cool arc. I think there's kind of like they had some roads and paths that they went on to get here, to get where they're putting out top tier games and making top tier cash. Proud of them. Okay, so Capcom entered this generation on the Xbox One. What game was that?
Dead Rising.
Dead Rising 3.
You just beat me to it.
Yes, Dead Rising 3 was an Xbox One exclusive at launch. Eventually came to PC almost a year later, but launched on the Xbox One. Yeah.
And that Vancouver studio has been closed now.
Yes, it has been. We're not done with that Vancouver studio though. But it was so weird. I remember the E3 press conference. There was a big second screen push for this game.
I forgot about all that.
It should have been huge to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, what a home run to get another Dead Rising exclusive.
It looked like the vibe to it. I remember when it was shown, it looked like weird and like didn't feel like Dead Rising to me when I saw it.
Right.
Yes.
It was goofy without looking goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was this real clash of like being like very grungy aesthetics, but you still had all the wacky weapons.
Yeah, tonally, I think they were going dark.
Yeah.
I think they were going serious. Like, hey, we are a drama now.
Yeah, I don't know if that paid
Dead
off.
Rising makes me sad because they never figured it out. Like after the first game, they never quite 2 is really interesting. I played a lot of 2. Actually, outside of the first one, my favorite Dead Rising is like the prequel to 2, the thing that like that demo we got.
West? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I played I played through that entire thing like 4 or 5 times before that game came out, and then didn't play Dead Rising 2 to completion.
Yeah.
It's just like they could never find that balance between. I don't think a lot of people have struck. Dead Island kind of struggled with that. Like Dead Island 2 never happened. Like just this.
Still in development.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. Just this idea of like a world that's funny, that just going out into the world and blowing stuff up is fun. But I think like Just Cause is kind of in the same position now too, where it's like it's just not as exciting as it used to be in an open world game. So you need a progression system or a story that's compelling. And like they tried that with the daughter in 2, but it just like, it's,
Right.
Am I going to be compelled to try more stuff because it's crazy to watch, or do I actually care about the story? Do I actually want to get to the end of it? Every time I replay Dead Rising, I get to the tank and then I stop because it's just that game ends with just this really, really long, arduous boss fight. And I'm just like, I don't care.
Sure.
To
You
see
had
a
your fun.
cutscene and credits, I'm fine.
Yeah, you had your fun. Yeah, to me, it was weird. Like, I think this, and a lot of, unfair to say, mediocre games kind of marred the launch of the Xbox One. And I mean PlayStation 4 too. You know what I mean? Like Killzone didn't review well. So these consoles kind of launched with games that were not blowing people's minds. And I think that's kind of part of Dead Rising 3's story. It's kind of weird. You want
Resogun.
Resogun? I
Yep.
played it. I enjoyed it. February 18th, 2014, the next year, February, Strider came out. You remember this?
Oh, I do remember
Wow,
this. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a 2D, well, I guess I should say 2.5 because it's all 3D
It's like a
backgrounds.
remake, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a sequel or a remake?
I think
can't
basically
remember.
a remake. Like one of
Okay.
those things where like we're going over the events of the other game. Double Helix was a developer on this. This was digitally released on PS3 era consoles and the next gen consoles.
Whoa.
Yeah, last we've seen of Strider in his own game, they gave it a shot, but I don't think it blew up.
No. It was. I feel like it's always been sort of more of a niche franchise.
Strider? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Strider, the guy with the big curved blade that fights the giant robot monkey at the beginning. What's that game? It's like your arcade game, and he's like constantly hooked on stuff, and like
Yeah, that's Strider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
dude.
and, like there's a big like dragon snake, and then like some other like robot monkey fighters. Okay, sorry, just making sure.
Joke.
Because I get my Striders and my Stingers and my shinobis.
Yeah.
They're all kind of cluttered in there a little bit.
Shinobi also has a scarf. Yeah.
Yeah,
it can be-
okay.
Yeah. It can be confusing, but yeah, like to me, that's like blood. How's that niche? Like that's the perfect kind of game. I'm a like
Sure,
cyborg
I'm
ninja
just
can
saying
like
that like
latch
it's
onto
like
stuff.
not as like popularly or widely known.
Yeah.
You know, it's like hardcore video game fans
Yeah.
know Strider, but
MVC
like a
fans
lot
know
of other
Strider.
people, a lot of people don't.
A really confusing thing to talk about is the Monster Hunter games over the course of this generation. Because there's Monster Hunter 4, there's Monster Hunter Generations, Monster Hunter Stories, Monster Hunter Frontier, Monster Hunter Online, and they all released on several different consoles at several different times throughout like this planet. And so I kind of like wanted to put Monster Hunter in general there, but like it didn't touch Xbox One, PlayStation 4 for a while, and like we'll get to when Monster
So
Hunter
there's like
finally
3
does.
port handhelds and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of handheld versions of Monster Hunter,
It's like
Switch, Wii
Capcom's
version.
Assassin's Creed.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, I wanted to acknowledge it, but it's kind of like its own parallel timeline to like whatever this whole path is, because I get the impression all those games were pretty successful in the meantime.
Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in Japan. This was weird. I didn't realize this happened. So June 3rd, 2014, we're deep into this console generation. Ultra Street Fighter 4 is released for the previous generation.
I forgot
consoles.
about this. Yeah.
So Ultra Street Fighter 4, it was 5 new characters, but 4 of them were from Tekken vs. Street Fighter. The 5th was DiCaprio, who was Cammy with a mask. But it's just kind of interesting that game was receiving support that deep into the new generation. And then it did not go onto PlayStation 4 until May 26th of 2015. So a while
Wow.
after that. Yeah. February 15th, 2015. This I think is a pretty cool game. This is a sequel. This is a sequel to an offshoot of Resident Evil.
Revelations 2?
Revelations
Oh,
2.
Yeah.
Oh, is this gen? Crazy.
Yeah,
I
man,
remember
isn't that
that.
weird?
Oh, yeah.
Because Revelations 1 started off as a 3DS game, but then was ported to
Right.
consoles, and
Right.
then then it became a console franchise.
Almost no reference on that. One of these days, I'll dig in.
I thought you played this.
No.
You're a Resident Evil super freak.
I know,
dude.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
It was just too much. I don't know. It was just not. I didn't crave Resident Evil enough to go back to kind of that classic format. But there's nothing bad about this. Michael Huber has ever said. He was a big fan.
It was cool to see a Resident Evil success, a game that
Yeah.
people like.
I mean, and also like it is admittedly still fairly low budget.
Yes,
Like it's very
much.
clear that it's not up to the standards of even most Resident Evil spin-offs.
Yes.
Right.
It was cool though. Yeah, and August of that year. I'm not going to talk about too many collections and remasters and things like that, but I think this
Tons of
collection
them.
was the beginning of something. August 25th, 2015, the Mega Man Legacy Collection was released. Mm-hmm. And what's different about this one, Digital Eclipse is the name of the studio that worked on this, basically making perfect versions of these games. The games they were meant to be seen as. I think there were some audio glitches at first. We went past them.
Patched.
I think they've been patched, you're right. And so like the perfect versions of these Mega Man games. And this was the start of something. This would keep happening throughout this generation. But I think that was a really cool release, and I'm happy that that's succeeded.
Was it 1 through 7 for that?
1 through 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
and
there
there
was
was
7
Legacy
onwards
Collection
for
too.
2. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So it's
Because
all
7
NES
is Super
ones?
Nintendo,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 1 through 6. Yep.
All NES. Wow.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Is that Frank Cifaldi? Is that Digital
Yeah.
Eclipse? Cool. Yeah. And so it's just somebody who cares about keeping games. What is the word? I'm like
Preservation. Yeah.
preservation. Yes.
good stuff,
He cares
yeah.
deeply about it. And
You know,
so
it-
yeah.
it's so funny because he does the video game history foundation or whatever. I can't remember exactly the name of the organization, but I saw like he was posting a bunch of stuff about things that they were cataloging. And then somebody was like, "I'd love to have that job." I was like, "Yeah, we don't get paid. We're all volunteers."
Not a job. yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I'm glad he found a way to get money. Hey, Digital Eclipse doing work. Maybe we can cover them now. So it's not just the Mega Man X stuff, but also the Disney collection.
Yeah, Afternoon Collection.
Disney Afternoon Collection. The thing I thought would never happen again, like DuckTales on there.
DuckTales.
They did
2.
that SNK one.
Did they? That's Digital Eclipse as well.
Yeah.
That's really really cool.
Rescue Rangers.
Yeah.
Rangers, yeah.
Yeah,
Tailspin.
like just cool. Get those licenses. Get them like just
Do it.
The perfect versions.
I think
Love
that Disney one recently went down to like $5 or something.
Yeah, it's been out for like 2 years, I think, now.
Being able to rewind in games that are too hard, so good. February 16th, 2016. An exclusive title for the PlayStation 4 and PC.
What's that? What date?
2016?
February 15th, 2016.
15th.
One of
Oof.
Capcom's most famous franchises.
Street
Oh,
Fighter
Street
5.
Fighter, yeah.
Street Fighter 5. Yeah, so
I
Street
forgot
Fighter
about
5.
Street Fighter 5, dude.
Easy to
Ugh.
happen, dude.
I guess, yeah.
So yeah, this was a PlayStation 4 exclusive. Pretty nuts because it's never been anything exclusive, right? It's never been a console
Right, it's been on,
exclusive.
yeah.
We streamed it from Huber's apartment.
Shoot, was it on Genesis?
Street Fighter 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it.
Okay,
It sucked.
got it. Okay. Yeah.
Dude, you had to push like start to
That's
switch.
right, to get the top buttons.
Yeah.
That's funny. So yeah, Street Fighter 5 came out on PlayStation 4, and it was such a weird launch. I don't think it was a...
It was bare bones from what I remember.
Yeah. It was bare bones. It had this weirdest monetization. It had a weird economy attached to it. Just like... Excuse me. I remember the in-game art just being weird. You know,
It was like fours, right? Again?
Sorry?
The in-game art is just like fours, right? Or the models, you mean?
Like worse. Like you get like the artist who's legit, Bendis might be his name. Just like who does Capcom classic art, but clearly had like a weekend to do it all in, and just like the worst drawings of people is what you get at the end of your arcade endings.
Dude.
The story mode wasn't done yet. That would be DLC later.
Yeah.
It just had like. Just Ken's face became a meme, right? Just
The banana hair.
And the banana hair, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it just like it didn't have that enthusiasm that Street Fighter
Right.
4 had, or anything near it, really.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a strange, like sort of trying to recognize the idea that like, with all the updates and stuff they put out with Street Fighter 4, like, hey, like this should be like an evolving games as a service kind of thing, where we just you buy the bones of the game and then we'll just keep adding on to it, but the plan didn't work out. The plan was just kind of like really hard to understand.
What's weird is I think at this point the plan has worked out. People are
Sure.
still playing that game. People are still buying stuff for that game.
But I think that's because they've backed it so hard and
Yes.
adjusted to whatever people had said. Basically the only reason it's worked out is because they didn't let it go.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's interesting because we already just talked about Ultra Street Fighter 4, right? Like there was, just new releases. You have to buy this to get the new characters, kinds of things. That's been what we've had since the Super Nintendo. That is how Capcom has released fighting games.
Even the arcade.
Sorry?
Even in the arcade.
Well, sure, yeah, it has to be a new cabinet, right?
Yeah.
And so, this was them trying something new with Street Fighter. And I do look at it differently today, right? Rough launch, but it's hard to call this game that launched in 2016 a failure because people are still watching it today.
Right.
People are still playing it, and so I don't know. I think it worked out in the end. Really bad launch is what I would say about Street
Yeah, I
Fighter
wonder how
5.
Capcom views it. I think it's like a big success for them or not.
I do. I wonder the same.
Didn't they just announce that they're doing a whole esports thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
There is an esports league for Street Fighter 5.
I mean, they
But I mean,
spend those.
they're like announced like a new company that they are forming
Yeah,
in
because
LA
it had
or
like
something.
Capcom Cup and stuff.
Yeah, and it's got a logo, I think. Yeah, I figure bad logo, but hey, they're putting effort into it, and I think we've heard lots of companies hey, we have an esports initiative.
Yeah.
So, but with Capcom, they actually have a game that people are interested in, competing in and watching, and so I think it might work out for them. And I don't think that's it. I don't think Street Fighter V is it. Basically, I think over the last 12 months, they've added one new character, and it's just basically a version of Evil Ryu. I think his name is Kage. He's just like a demon Ryu. I think they're finally working on the next game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we might have seen the last characters we
I
had
really
for
hope
Street
it
Fighter
looks
5.
a lot different than 4 and 5.
It has to,
Like,
dude.
it's
it
time.
Has to.
I think that's what helped with 4 Lock, because it looked completely different and fresh.
Yes.
When I saw 5 again, I was like, oh, okay. Like,
Yeah,
We were
like-
also starved for Street
course.
Fighter, and the majority of fighting games had faded away at that point.
But it's like, now you got to step
Yeah.
your game up, Capcom.
Corrections, feel free to get me for this. I think Street Fighter 4 began not just hey, 2D, 3D's back, baby, we have fighting games back, but this whole comeback mechanic of receive a bunch of damage, do a cool super ultimate attack. I think Street Fighter 4 started that thing. And obviously you'll find no, it's this and this popularized perhaps. Every game after that, Mortal Kombat had to do it, Tekken had to do stuff like that. So pretty nuts that I think that's another contribution. And another part of why it's fun to watch esports wise, somebody could flip out that ultra attack at a second.
Yep.
Just oh, cool. But can't all be good news. June 21st, 2016. Wait, do you know what this is already?
This Umbrella Corps?
Yeah, dude. Whoa!
Beefs of Butthead, dude.
That's also PC, PlayStation 4, Blood. How did you remember that?
Oh, I was thinking we were almost there with Street Fighter, but when you said February, I was like, no, we weren't there yet. So.
Yeah, so what is Umbrella Corps? What do you remember of this game?
Umbrella Corps was just trying to be a multiplayer co-op shooter in the Resident Evil universe, similar to Operation Raccoon City.
I think it's competitive, though. When I was looking at Wikipedia, I think you were competing teams. I
Yeah,
think
that
two
was
teams
the
competing against
competitive
each
one,
other.
yeah.
And what's also very funny is I was like, I wonder who developed this. Who did they get? What studio did they outsource this to? This thing, extremely internal. This was Capcom developing this game.
Why did they make that? Who wanted that?
That was esports.
No one wanted that
If you look
game.
at previews, it's they wanted to get on this esports energy. I think around that time, we're looking at Evolve, right? It's just
Yeah.
I think.
Evolve was the previous year.
So yeah, I think that there was just buzz. There was a buzz in development. It just it was just read the wrong way, perhaps, because obviously online games as a service is working for many companies, but just not like that.
Screwing up Resident Evil, man. God.
That could have been the end, Brad. That could
It
have
could have been the end. Thank
that
God
could
it
have been
wasn't.
the end for
Oh my
Resident
goodness.
Evil.
Thank God.
Wow, December 6th, 2016. I'll give you a hint for this one. We're in December, launching December. This game has a Christmas theme.
Oh, Dead Rising 4.
Dead Rising 4!
Oh gosh.
I
forgot about
would have
4.
forgotten about
Out of
4.
nowhere. I remember this announcement and launch were very close.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
And
I
so this
remember
was
the
no,
really bad gimmick stream that they had, somebody in a
I do
bubble
remember
or
this
something.
too, yeah.
It was just it
was,
just looked like they were torturing somebody
It's
for
one
the
of the
sake
dudes
streaming.
from Workaholics.
Oh no.
It was one of those dudes.
Torturing him in a bubble for Dead
There was
Rising 4?
zombies behind him and stuff. He's trying to play. And I was like, this is just awkward.
He'd be trying
Yeah.
to play, but then they would pull gags on him while
Just
he's
being
playing and stuff. Yeah.
Just just let me play, guys.
Oh man. I would have to accept $500 million.
Like that is the most out of touch marketing thing
Yes.
they could have thought of.
And so, yeah, I mean, this was basically the end of that studio, as Bloodworth hinted at earlier. This was the last Dead Rising game we'll be talking about probably for a while.
Long time, probably.
I think it was meant to be a sort of return to roots.
Yeah, because you're Frank West again.
Yeah. I don't know what happened wrong with this one. I did not play
Didn't
this
play
game.
it either. Hubert told me it was not good.
Yeah, but like
So I was like, okay.
Dead Rising 1, I wouldn't call it good, right? Like it's good for a lot of ancillary reasons, right? Like gameplay wise, it's just I have no idea why 4 didn't work. Why does a thing like this stop?
I think people are done with like the novelty of like
It can't create it. I think it's like that moment in Groundhog Day where he like has this magical moment with her, and then like the next night's like, hey, and she's like, what? No, like you can't like force that thing to happen. And I think like as much as they may want to admit it or not, I don't think like they got the humor about Dead Rising right away. I think they like released that game and they were like, yeah, there's some jokes in there and there's some comedic weapons, but like this is a very dramatic story and you're like dealing with his sister and what's she gonna do with her brother, and you play Dead Rising 1, it's like I don't care about any of this. This is hilarious because it's so melodramatic. I've covered wars, like I don't think they laughed at that, before it came out. I think they saw everyone else laughing at it where they're like, oh, this is great. We can turn around and make this silly. But it's like, unless something like that is out of the gate, or you have someone involved that really understands that humor, or like has a personality attached to it, like like Sid Meier with Pirates or something, just somebody who's known for like doing that, and can carry the script.
This is gonna come out weird, but Jones, that kind of line, that kind of humor comes from Japanese writers assuming what Americans talk like.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so like it's really hard to create that if you live in Vancouver.
Yeah.
It's really hard to create that level. And like there is magic to that, I think. There's like a certain strange weirdness that makes it unique in a way that is, you're right, hard to recapture.
I mean, look at something like EDF, and I don't know how much of that EDF has, but there definitely is this line of, am I supposed to take something seriously or not? Something like Ace Combat, much more on the serious side. There is a little bit of weirdness there, but like EDF is maintained just by not changing a whole lot in terms of like what you can expect going into the game. And like 2, 3, and 4 all had some weird gimmick. There was some of the new character and new, like completely new environment, new style. Even just having like, I think Christmas associated with it kind of killed the vibe of like picking it up in April. It was like, well, I'm not going to play that.
Sure.
This
And
game
you
where
get it in December, you
Santa
don't get it
Claus
at
is
all.
all over the place. Like, yeah.
You know what I do remember is them just going nuts with like the armors and like the maybe they took that in a wrong direction. I do remember that being a criticism at the time, which is like you have a mech suit now.
just going too crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, like, who knows?
He's just
I
kind of a
honestly-
lone wolf. I just remember Frank in that game, and I can't tell you even one other character I didn't learn the name of, And it's like, if you're going to have crazy weaponry, give me crazy NPCs building it. Give me,
Yeah.
like, play Bayonetta, then come back to this, and maybe just come out with just some really out there wild ideas. Like the Far Cry stuff. What's the Blood Dragon? Like really go for it.
Yes.
Because it's I think that is the only direction you can. I don't think you can turn it around and make it serious again.
Shock
It's like,
people upon one image.
Sure.
Look at one screenshot
A
of this
literal
game.
Doc Brown spider monster.
Yes.
Like I want,
Yes.
Christopher Lloyd coming in on a spider.
That is
no
something.
context.
That is something.
Yeah.
And he's on your team. 1 month later, we have another big Capcom release. 1 month after Dead Rising 4. This
We're-
one? Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I know Resident Evil 7's in January, so I'm just
That's
like
1 month
wait.
later, baby.
That's not a year after that.
No, that's the
Yeah.
month.
Oh,
1
yeah,
month
it was
later.
January.
Resident Evil 7 launched a month after Dead Rising 4.
Yes.
Wow.
I know. That's why I love doing these things.
yeah.
I know.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Good turnaround.
Because that's it. Because now
Yes.
it's a new era.
Yeah,
We
that's the start of
graduated
the
from
era,
college
yeah.
now.
Yes. Over the course of 1 month. And I think it's another reason why that studio was closed. Like, they weren't making bad games, right? But just like Resident
Yeah.
Evil 7 just exploded. It's like, well, you know what? We know how to do this. I
Yeah.
guess.
I guess, yeah. So many risks taken with that game. That game is so unusual. It's
Count
so
the risks.
different.
Let's go over them.
Not having any of the established characters in it at all.
Yes.
Completely throwing that out. Having a
Or
very,
villains.
very loose connection to even who you are. And you
character.
going there. Like,
Yeah.
going into an environment that, like, all the high tech and all the, at least, like, with weaponry, like, sometimes you're in kind of, like, city environments and, like, you're without resources, but you still have some pretty cool guns and some cool gadgets and stuff. Or, like, you're trained to be in these experiences. And you're just, like, a guy trying to get your girlfriend in the bayou. That's it. That's the plot.
VR.
Huge twist near the
VR?
end. Yeah, VR. Like
First person, if it
Yeah.
even
First
is that
person.
version,
Yeah.
Yeah. a first-person Resident Evil game. It's numbered.
Brand new enemy types, like extremely new, not like, BOWs, no more like eyeballs in the shoulder, just like these weird sludge things that are kind of hard to see in the darkness.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And that thing came together so fast. Like 30 minutes into that, you're like, here we go. Like, this is a really tight game. Like, this is a solid experience.
So tonally different. We had the demo. We had the kitchen ahead of time.
yeah.
But then we had a Resident Evil 7 demo, right? Like where the VR and all that. Sorry,
VCR.
VHS. Thank you.
Yeah, VHS.
2 demos. I remember Hugh was freaking out about the finger.
dummy
and,
finger.
Yes, the dummy finger, all of that stuff, which is funny because I will troll it on Twitter for a long time afterward. I like just completely different, but a modern take, and a take is really all you
it's a
need,
soft
right?
reboot for
you just
the
need
franchise.
a perspective. Yeah, loved it. I'm so excited that worked out.
Just like the farthest in quality between 2 sequels of established franchises I think I've ever seen in my life. Like going from 6 to 7.
Yeah.
Like Assassin's Creed 3 was weird, but it was 3 to 4
Yeah.
is one thing.
Yeah.
Like 6 to 7.
And even if you
in
must,
RE is
like Revelations 2
monumental.
to 7, like even if you count the offshoots,
Sure.
Yeah.
completely different from anything before
Yeah.
it.
And
So cool.
and gorgeous. Just looked like a Resident Evil
Yeah.
game was never.
The
Like,
RE
the
engine,
lighting
baby.
was so
Yeah.
substantial. And
That's worth bringing up. This is our first RE engine game and not our last.
Yeah.
Really excited to go through more of these. May 26, 2017. I thought there was a launch title, but now I have greater context for it. Capcom's first Switch title. What is this?
Switch title.
This is 2 months after the launch of the Switch. We're hungry for new games. This came
That's
out.
the Street Fighter 2 thing, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Ultra Street
right.
Fighter 2. Dude, the
this
final
game.
challengers. This game, man.
Wasn't it like $40 or something?
Yeah.
It looked weird from what I remember.
And then it used Joy-Con motion controls or something.
There was a
strange.
mode. There was a mode that used the motion controls
Yeah.
where you could throw Hadokens at Bisons.
I love that there's a lot of companies with arcade properties or like indie games that are like, the Switch could be big and it would make a lot of sense for us to be on Switch if it is big, but we don't know yet. Where Capcom at launch is like, let's do that. We know people will be like, portable.
What is the least amount of effort we can
Street
put?
Fighter?
Yeah.
So to be clear, this did have Street Fighter 2 legacy graphics. It had the HD remix graphics, and it added 2 new characters. But they're it's Violent Ken and Evil Ryu were the new characters. Those are the final
phoning
challenges.
it in, dude.
Yeah, super phoned in, but was very successful for them. And it just 2 months after the Switch release, why not? And it just killed. Crazy to me. September 19th, 2017. The second fighting game of the generation.
Oh, MVCI?
Yes, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. What another.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, they're not comfortable yet.
I would have bet that came out before RE7. I kind of want RE7 to be like the line where everything
Right.
changes, but
But it
yeah.
wasn't that smooth, right? Yeah. I don't know how to touch on this game. I mean, this should have been huge, right?
Yeah.
Marvel vs. Capcom, we assumed to
It
be
had
dead.
all the Infinity Stones and everything that you'd think they could have played into, but it was like they were too early for anyone to even care.
What Infinity Stones are?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a weird, unique bummer. I feel like at that time, I think Spider-Man's announced at least, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, oh baby, Marvel is on the table. Marvel is willing to play ball again. I'm so excited to see what they can do with Marvel vs. Capcom. But from the stories we heard, and it's been debunked a little bit afterward, it sounded like the partnership wasn't totally
Right.
free, right? It's just the decisions and rosters and who can beat up whom in cutscenes. It sounded like it was kind of
Disney,
pressured.
dude.
Yeah. And obviously it looked so bad.
Yeah.
Did it just look so bad, or is Marvel vs. Capcom one of those series that has to look really good? Otherwise, that's going to be a big problem.
No, there was
a
the
huge
Chun-Li
hurdle to get
face
over.
controversy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I mean, they changed her face, but it's still hey, y'all look bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Jones, I think you're right. Hey, if you have Captain America in your game, he's got to look
And they
good.
were mimicking 3's style more, but I don't remember 3 looking that bad at all.
3 had its
3 looked different than 2.
Yes. Yeah.
Totally. I love 1 and 2's it looked way more than 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Or MVCI, but
3 had that high contrast thing going on where it
Yeah.
looked like comic books. It looked like
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
they were trying to basically do the same thing as Street Fighter 4.
yeah.
Sure, but
3D
without the
models.
splashiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how to touch on this one. I think it's lessons learned for Capcom. I think
That they'll never make a fighting game besides Street Fighter ever again.
I bet they're going to make another Marvel vs. Capcom game. I bet it'll happen
Dude,
again.
they gotta
Brad.
get that Disney approval.
Yeah. Well, they need like less Disney approval, I feel like. You know? I feel like they need just let Capcom go off, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, you think Disney's gonna let them just go off?
I don't know. Dude, I just simply don't know.
They won't.
I don't. Camouflage gets to make an Iron Man game.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, it's just a weird bump in this generation. It's such an easily forgettable game. You play through the campaign, it's like not as joyous as you think it would be, and so
Yeah.
it's just like for a franchise that is so much fun, it was so weird to see
Dude,
like a kind of
MVC2 back in the day was so rad.
yeah. Be rad again. Okay, January 26th, 2018. Capcom's best-selling game of
Monster
all
Hunter.
time, Monster Hunter World. They did it.
World. Yeah, they did it. Crazy.
Best-selling game of their entire history.
Yeah, Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes. And so this is the first Monster Hunter game on this generation of consoles. You know, it took what are we, 5 years in at that point? And so it took a while, but then was met with unprecedented.
Yeah.
Like
Changed up the formula a bit.
yes. Change up the formula a lot.
A
I
lot,
think.
yeah.
Yeah.
They made it broader. I understand they're like Monster Hunter purists who aren't into most of these changes, but like just met with such success that it makes me happy.
Yeah.
They did the right things.
First
with this
Monster game I played through.
Hey,
I didn't really like Monster Hunter before
that's
this.
you're not alone, Brad.
I know.
Yeah, and so yeah, I think it's over 11 mil they sold of this game, which is incredible.
It was on one platform for a year too. It was just PS4. Then it came to PC later.
Yes,
Or wait, was it on X? No, it was on Xbox. I think.
was
Sorry.
Xbox, but you're
sorry,
right.
completely forgot about that.
but you're right that it took almost a year for it to come
Yeah.
to PC. So yeah, it was cool. That's a huge part of their history.
Yeah.
This is part of the turnaround that
You
Jones
make-
is talking about.
when people make great games and they sell it, feels good.
Yeah, that's exactly it, Brad. October 2nd, 2018, Mega Man 11.
Yeah,
Hey, there it is.
there it is.
Yeah,
He's back after like a long hiatus.
sure. And apparently sold. Capcom's happy with the sales.
Not my favorite Mega Man game.
Not mine. But yeah, it wasn't a disgrace.
I appreciate that they took a lot of risks with it.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Like the gear mechanics and stuff, dude.
Hey,
Like that's crazy.
it's not crazy.
Yes, it is for Mega Man.
So if you
What are you
don't-
doing bullet time in Mega Man games?
So you have like 2 meters. You could use it. You have 1 meter. You could
Yeah,
use that meter
choose.
either to power up your shots or to slow down time, or to press both at the same time and just do some really cool ultimate attack.
Kyle, the closest I've ever come to actually wanting to invest heavily in a Mega Man game.
Is 11?
When I saw those editions, I was like, oh, that looks really fun.
What about when I
Sure.
told you about Mega Man Legends?
Still,
He doesn't want
I'm
to
waiting.
kick a can, Kyle, all game.
I'm waiting.
As fun as it is in that game.
It's not very accessible. You know, it's like, how do I get Legends 1? You know what I mean? How do I today?
PS3,
how do
dude.
I
Yeah,
make it
you-
Do you
happen?
all
PS3.
hear that? Do you hear this? It sounds like it's podcast halftime.
The following are the official sponsors of Easy Allies for the month of May. Uniqlo is a Japanese fashion brand aiming to change the world through the power of clothing. With a focus on high quality and innovative textiles, Uniqlo is redefining everyday clothing by increasing the functionality of your wardrobe at an affordable price. They call it Lifewear Made for All. Visit uniqlo.com/EZA to check out their collections, including new and upcoming graphic t-shirt collaborations with Nintendo, Star Wars, Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, and many more. That's uniqlo.com/EZA. Sweet Justice, a sound design company from the southern shores of the UK. They've worked on some of the biggest AAA titles, the most refreshing indie titles, and collaborated with the best development teams in the world. Our gifted sponsor this month is the Able Gamers Foundation, a nonprofit charity that aims to improve the overall quality of life for those with disabilities through the power of video games, creating opportunities that enable play in order to combat social isolation, foster inclusive communities, and improve the quality of life for people with disabilities. The link to donate is in the description. Car Keys Express. If you need a replacement car key or remote, check out carkeysexpress.com/store. Use the coupon code EZA at checkout for free shipping and 10% off of your order. They are proud sponsors of Easy Allies. El Fanis. Fangamer.
makers of officially licensed merchandise for games like Dark Souls, Hollow Knight, Stardew Valley, Undertale, Katamari Damacy, and Persona 5. Not to mention, Easy Allies t-shirts. Their newest products include the Hollow Knight Collector's Edition for Switch, PS4, and PC, a Prince and Katamari magnetic plush, and a Sans hoodie from Undertale. Check out their store at fangamer.com. Hogue Law Business Law Firm. Whether you're starting a business at level 1, stuck fighting the dreaded fundraising boss, or finally cashing out with a well-earned high score, you need a good business lawyer at your side. Or at least that Good Business Lawyers YouTube and podcast series, Virtual Legality. This week in Virtual Legality, Hogue discusses the latest in Game of Thrones, and in the biggest episodes of Virtual Legality yet, Ross Scott of Accursed Farms claimed that the games-as-a-service business model is tantamount to fraud and the legal landscape related thereto, including a 2-hour discussion with Ross Scott himself. An absolutely fascinating discussion that is not to be missed. Check it all out at youtube.com/HOEG Law or on your favorite podcast service. Did you know? The best way to get blood stains and pit stains out of shirts, if they're cotton, is to soak them in a solution of water and OxyClean, agitate them lightly, and then run them through the wash. Do not put them in the dryer if the stain isn't out, otherwise that stain is set. This and many other cleaning tips can be found in the aptly titled My Boyfriend Barfed in My Handbag and Other Things You Can't Ask Martha by Jolie Kerr. It's funny, insightful, and very useful. Sincerely, Sam and Liz. And our mega sponsor, Heroic Replicas. The fine folks at Heroic Replicas design and fabricate true-to-form, high-quality replicas and props. From legendary gear to keepsakes or all-metal creations, Heroic Replicas can make something special for you. Through the month of May, Heroic Replicas is auctioning off 4 unique items, one each week, with proceeds going directly to fund future months of sponsorship of Easy Allies. The first item up for auction is a custom Dark Link Master Sword from The Legend of Zelda. It features a tempered high-carbon blade, a rough bronze hilt with a black onyx finish, and cast pewter accents. Bidding starts at $1, and the auction ends Tuesday night, May 14th. If you want to help support Heroic Replicas and Easy Allies, follow and retweet at Heroic Replicas on Twitter. All of these links are available in the description. Thank you to our sponsors.
Thank you, sponsors. Not an official endorsement. I'm wearing Uniqlo jeans right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
They did not pay me to wear these jeans, let it be said.
Yeah, I have like
But now you
3
can't take them off.
Fangamer things.
Now I can't take these off. Yep. Yeah. Hey, fangamer.com/Easy Allies. People are still asking, like, hey, where do I get that shirt? Fangamer.com/Easy Allies. Get yourself a little Jordy shirt. Okay. So I wanted to get through all these Capcom games before halftime. It just wasn't happening.
RE2 Devil May Cry 5.
We can just celebrate
Yes.
now. Yeah, we could just kind of dance while you
We
know
can
the rest
dance
of
the
it.
rest of the
Capcom.
way out. Yeah. So earlier this year, January 25th, 2019, Resident Evil 2 was released.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, just everything you could have wished it to be. To me, like a total understanding of a game's tone and also a modern gaming environment. Both of those things.
Even after 7, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, this game could be super weird. They could just do something really
for sure.
wacky and strange. And I think the whole concept of RE2, whenever they talked about remaking it, I'm like, that can't work out.
Yeah.
There's got to be something's got to go wrong with that game. Not only because RE7's so good, but because RE Remake is so good on GameCube. It was just like, man, it's been so many years since that. How can you kind of recapture that magic? Oh, yeah, do that. Do that game that came out. That was great.
It could not have been easy, man. Like I
Yeah.
can't imagine the work and effort that went into even on the design phases. Even in the first 2 weeks of like, hey, how do we make how do we do this? And you're like, I cannot believe the work that was put into that game.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see it rewarded. It's really cool for Capcom to come out and say it exceeded expectations. Because like I wonder what their expectations were for that. I wonder what the budget was, and I wonder what kind of budget they're getting for the next game.
Yeah.
Hopefully a big old budget.
Give them a big old budget. Meanwhile, like, you know, the RE7 team, like, what are you working on? I feel like some of those people did move on to 2 because it's hard to believe that game was made that fast.
Sure, bouncing back.
Yeah, bouncing back and forth. And then, of course, on March 8th, 2019, Devil May Cry 5. Devil May Cry 4 on...
2008.
That was 2008. Nice,
Yep.
Brad. Okay, sold very well. I'm not sure when this happened. It's like, hey, it's time for a reboot.
Right.
They wanted like a more Western-focused game.
Why? When Devil May Cry 4 was such a success?
I don't know.
Okay.
That was a weird time for Capcom.
They were
Yeah.
doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
I
You
really-
remember there was
Western Focus.
Dark Void was that Capcom too?
That was Capcom.
Dude,
Yeah.
and Lost Planet 3, like all that stuff.
Bionic Commando.
Yeah. I really wanted to pull that generation in. The list would have been too long.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That arc is way more. The 360 arc is
So
unbelievable.
crazy.
It's so weird. It's so weird. So many drops and so many successes in such weird directions. Yeah, but Devil May Cry 5. Shoot, what was like? How did Itsuno like get this? I think he just like clearly wanted it.
Yeah.
The story is
did.
he was gonna leave if he didn't get it. I'm not sure it was that clear, but it just imagine a very talented game director who just really is passionate behind a project, and Capcom just saying yes, use the RE engine, and it just worked out again.
He did 3, 4, and he did Dragon's Dogma, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah,
this guy knows what he's doing.
And finished up too.
Yeah. That's
Like
right.
it's like a mark on his record, but like basically they brought him in to wrap up Devil May Cry 2.
It's like, what can he do sometimes?
He's a fighting games guy before that.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So like,
He gets it.
help me with this. Power Stone.
No
Yeah.
way. He worked
Yes.
on Power Stone?
Yeah.
Sick.
Rival schools.
Dude, bring Power Stone back, baby. Let's go. It's
Yeah.
been so long.
Power Stone 3
Yeah.
needs to happen for sure.
And so it's again, like Brad said earlier, like to see good games get rewarded is
Oh,
so
it's the best,
It just
dude.
feels
It's the
really
best.
nice. Yeah. But also it's just Itsuno has power. It's just go nuts.
Good. Give him
Yes.
the power.
Like they're getting. It's like imagine like a good version of Inafune. Like. Imagine like a talented person getting to make decisions, and that's where Capcom is right now.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited for them.
And I think that's part of the excitement when you get big sales like that. That's every time when I was going through RE2 wasn't just like, wow, this is a quality game, and I'm happy I can cherish this game forever. It was like, man, whatever the next thing in Resident Evil is,
Yes.
whether that's RE3 or RE8 or what, Revelations 3 or. Whoa, I'm so excited. Even like the DLC for RE7, which we didn't really get into, is all extremely unique
God,
and crazy
dude.
and
Yes.
really fun ideas.
Joe Baker.
And, lots of experimentation.
Punching
and
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know who Joe
Jackie
Baker
boy.
is,
Oh, it's so good.
he's a guy with a beard, and you just punch.
Yeah,
you punch
Dude,
zombies.
in
I did
VR,
it in VR. I
was
had a wonderful
so
time.
good in
Yeah.
VR.
It's very, very good, extremely unique. Yeah, and Jones, that is kind of where I wanted to end this discussion because we know about Monster Hunter World Iceborne coming later this year, but we know of nothing else.
Secrets.
What, Brad, did
Next
you know
gen
something?
secrets,
Oh,
baby.
okay.
They're coming out. I'm hoping Dragon's Dogma 2 for God's sakes.
But you think nothing else over the next 12 months?
Oh, no, I think we'll get something.
Yeah,
12 months?
obviously,
Yeah.
man.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
like,
they'll
we got
definitely-
Yeah,
they'll
absolutely.
have
We got a whole other
announcements.
fiscal
E3,
year coming
Yeah.
up. I should note, in the way that we started this conversation, Capcom does expect next fiscal year to be lower, not
Sure.
to reach the highs that they had of this
Well, they
year.
had, RE2 and Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah, so I don't
close
think we're
to
going to
each
get
other.
that kind of year this year. But
Give it time.
as Jones just said, like I'm excited to think about what we could possibly be getting this year.
You know what it is?
Huh.
Mega Man Legends 3, Kyle.
And they just know it won't do well.
Never give up.
And they're just like, look, keep expectations low.
Switch title, baby.
Yeah,
Lower budget.
great on Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great Switch title, dude. I would love it.
Who was the character you played as in the prototype?
Dude, Kickman? I
Like,
forget his
who
name.
wants to be
Yeah.
that guy? Just let me be
Ugh.
Mega Man again.
Please.
Please.
I mean, even if I gotta be roll and some surf bots,
Yeah.
that's cool. Not some new guy who kicks.
How would you feel Zero was in it?
I would be delighted.
Excellent.
Yeah, I would be delighted, dude.
Cool.
I mean, like, it couldn't be Zero himself, just like Mega Man is.
But, like, yeah, a version.
Yes, a version of Zero would be great. In fact, I'm surprised they didn't even try, dude.
Dude, think about it. They start fighting at first, rivals, then they become friends at the end. It's right there, baby.
There is a wink at Dr. Wily and not much else about the lineage of Mega Man.
Yeah.
But, like, if you don't know, Mega Man Legends takes place in the universe left behind of Mega Man X.
It's like the Wind Waker, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's like Wind Waker.
Yeah.
I know there's some in-betweens, like ZX, but it's just like, oh, this planet's awful. All the humans are dead.
A lot
Things
of
like
ocean, I remember.
that. Very Wind Waker-y, you're right. Yeah, I mean, like, we can look at, like, franchises coming back. Apparently, Onimusha, the remaster they put out last year, didn't do too well. That was this year, wasn't it?
I wondered about that. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and so I don't know if we'll see a new Onimusha game this year. I mean, worth stating, like, Devil May Cry didn't come out of nowhere. There was, like, an HD remaster of Devil May
Yeah.
Cry collections that came out, and, like, I do think that those things kind of help out in meetings when you're trying to get funding
Oh,
for a game
definitely.
like that.
Hopefully they'll at least do Onimusha 2.
Will we see
Remastered.
a new IP in 12 months?
New IP.
I think we could.
Yeah, I would be surprised.
particularly if they wanted to get something out there for the
Next
Switch.
gen.
Sure. Switch, yes. Because that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking, Blood, is like there's almost no chance of a new IP when it could just be a next-gen launch. You kind of save new IPs for that because that's when people are more likely to get attached to one.
But I also think, Switch is in a place right now where like a lot of just out there quirky things, indie games have been doing really well. And I think that, that more creative side of Capcom really hasn't flexed its muscles as much.
Yeah, insane, man, to look at their Nintendo DS support, handheld
Right,
support for
yeah.
Nintendo stuff.
Oh yeah, they put out that Ace Attorney collection recently too.
Yeah, but for like, you're right though, that creative side of Capcom to end and not be supporting the Switch is bizarre to me. Like, where are your weird games, Capcom? Just put some dumb thing on there. And it is weird.
They're
It's-
RE engine only now.
yeah.
Sorry.
But I think that's part of it though is, weird games often are lower budget games as well. And so, you kind of need a certain amount of budget as a Capcom on a PlayStation 4. Whereas you can do a little bit less on the Switch and people won't think it's weird.
Sure. I should say Mega Man 11 was on the Switch. Like that probably sold best on
Also
Switch.
on
We don't
Switch,
have
yeah.
that data, but probably did great on Switch.
And they streamed RE7 on Switch in Japan.
Yes.
Did they do anything else on the Switch in Japan? Other than that? Was that it? Was that like a test or?
I don't know, man.
They're
Would
just
Devil May
being
Cry 5 even work? I doubt
creative,
it.
yeah.
I think like
I mean, yeah,
maybe Monster Hunter. I don't know.
probably
man.
not in terms of streaming.
Wonder what came
You know
out.
what? I'll let the corrections do it. I do remember hearing a second title after RE. So yeah.
Oh, Dragon's Dogma was just on Switch.
Oh yeah.
like released like on a cart though. Yeah.
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 But
And
you're
Devil May
right.
Cry
Well,
5
they're trying.
or 1's coming to Switch. Just
Yes.
one though.
That's it. Like that. I want to see new games. I want to see like where's that new gameness. But I kind of think you're right. If they're working on new games, their money is on the consoles and PC. That's where they're
Dude, the
making
money's on Monster Hunter.
and Monster. Yeah. Exactly, man. And so like they're doing fine on those things. I think they see in their own records like we don't need Switch. It's nice, but this is where we're primarily targeting because those people are supporting us right now.
Mega Man Legends 3, man, don't give up.
Don't give up. I won't. What if it's in RE engine, dude?
Dude. Whoa.
Like a realistic looking Mega Man?
But what if it looks just so good and we're into it?
Brad, I'm gonna be into it, dude. Just like a facial capture Mega Man boy, like it's gonna be so weird. I'm gonna be like, this game looks awesome, and you're all worried about
dude.
me. Like, Kyle, this looks bad, bud. I'm like, no, he looks good.
I'd be happy for you.
Thank you. It's time for Love and Respect.
Love and respect.
We can fit a couple in. Heyo, allies. Apologies if this is a bit of a heavy topic. Apology accepted. With the increasing reports of crunch and terrible working conditions that unfortunately go into making games that we love, how has that affected how you approach covering or featuring these games, if at all? Do you wonder if a spotlight shown on certain games or praise given might be indirectly encouraging these practices? Jason Schreier's article on Anthem and BioWare specifically brings up Dragon Age Inquisition winning GOTY at the Game Awards in reference to how BioWare employees wanted the game to fail because of how it was made. I don't mean to suggest that you and your professional colleagues are culpable in this, just trying to gauge where your heads are at, as you don't seem completely powerless either. Love and respect, facsimile. And I do want to add into this the walkout that Riot had yesterday as we're recording, in which it was, I think, over 200 reported employees walked out for what sucks is a part of the day, and then what I imagine is walking in today and then like having the sucky feeling that Riot doesn't care. Like they're back to work today. You know what I mean? And so Riot's like, yeah, walk out. And they did. And it's just like, that was very strong. Like, I'm imagining, like, I shouldn't.
I don't think there's I find it hard to believe there'd be a Riot doesn't care because the whole internet was talking about that yesterday. Like it was really like there's a lot of pressure on that management team, I'm sure.
Yeah, on the management, like the voice I was giving was to HR, as the Riot HR, who's just like, please do it, exercise your right, and then not caring at all. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what I see is that kind of wall that's like, go for it, walk on out.
That's like the thing. Like either companies are going to feel the pressure or they're not.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then the only thing to do is take legal action, and that's where the 4 of us or the 9 of us are very much ill-equipped to do anything.
But what I like is that won't be the last walkout. I think that the significance of that is that's the start of something and not the end of something.
Yeah.
Sure.
But hey, I mean, like, does this affect how we cover stuff? Cover the
sure.
games themselves?
I think I am probably culpable for as much as I talk up Rockstar constantly, and like they're like very much focused on in this conversation. And so, you know, right now we're kind of in between stuff. Like I am excited for Red Dead Online to get out of beta, or from like fun story, you know, updates to happen to that game, and probably going to get something, you know, 1 or 2 years into the life cycle of the next gen. Like hopefully, I'm pulling for Bully, but like probably going to get a GTA announcement sometime in that gen.
Yeah,
Whenever
you
that
are.
happens, that's like I want to say that in that conversation. Like, yeah, we're excited about this. Hopefully, things have changed at Rockstar, and so just that always being there, always mentioning that, always keeping that in the back of your mind. That's how I've changed. Like, but I'm not gonna. I'm not to boycott level. I'm not at something where it's like, no, I'm not going to ever play Red Dead Online again because I know the people involved. Like, I don't know that. I wish I did. I wish,
Right.
you know, I wish I could knock on doors. I wish I could, like, there was more people other than just the direct PR people I deal with at Rockstar that I could talk to get their story beyond reporting through someone they can't give their name to, or, you know, give their name to release to other people.
Yeah, I think for me, like it doesn't change how we cover games in the sense of how we evaluate or critique a game like that. Like, because a lot of it, like that, is just sort of assumptions. Like, you know, if they didn't crunch, you know, that game might have taken longer to come out, but it might have been exactly as good as it is right now. Like, so it's there's like all kinds of like, you're almost like doing like multiverse theories on that. You know, you've just got to evaluate what you have in your hands rather than trying to assume like what the workplace was like and how that influenced it. But I think it is important to try to talk about it to the best of our ability in spaces like this on the podcast, and try to react as best as we can, and you know, read articles like that, talk to developers when we have the opportunities to see what their perspective is. Because I think largely, you know, one of the reasons, you know, as Brandon was talking about, is like we have a limited perspective, right? Like we haven't worked in these places. We don't know what these conditions are like exactly. We don't know like how that pressure cooker feels, and like when that line gets crossed between everyone's just all in on this and just really excited and making this, to like now my boss is just terrible and forcing me to work more than I want. You know, like there, you know, because there's that line. There's that like strange thing of like sometimes you overwork yourself, and then as soon as it becomes like you don't want to do this anymore, it becomes like a huge difference.
What about like with NetherRealm, the stuff that's coming out
Right.
about NetherRealm, which is crunch, but on top of that, just like at Riot as well. It was not just crunch. It was like, hey, this is a highly sexist environment. NetherRealm in particular, with very specific stories of just like name calling, like nicknaming and things like that, and also just like. The funniest story to me, someone in QA coming up with a fatality, and it's just like, thanks, bud, putting it in the game, but getting no credit and not moving up from QA at all. You know what I mean? It's just like, thanks for the idea. Because like, as Blood said, there's like, hey, isn't it fun, the idea of like thinking of a development studio where anyone could submit an idea for a fatality? Like, yeah, that is fun. But like at some point, you have to be a responsible company. You have to like, the reason why, you know, nobody will read your script if you're like, Mr. Spielberg, read this please, because like, no, you can't, because if you take that idea, it opens yourself up to all these other liabilities. Like you shouldn't take that poor QA person's idea for a fatality. But back to that, Blood, is like, there's kind of like no rough line there. Do you know what I mean? We have plenty of stories about NetherRealm being a bad studio environmentally. And so I guess like what we're left to do is either like boycott it, Mortal Kombat 11, like discussions about it, right? Which I don't know if I'd go that far, but I'd try to like, I guess I try not to praise the team as much. Do you know what I mean? I try not to be like,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
NetherRealm, best in the biz, baby. They're on top of their game, because that's like the stuff you're supporting. And so it is hard when we are in their position. You like, man, what do you say about Mortal Kombat 11, Brad?
What do you mean? What about it? Like, I don't approve of like whatever they're doing at their studio.
Yeah.
All this like.
But what do you say about the game?
I mean, I don't own the game. I haven't really played it that much. I played it here at work. I don't really care that much about it, but
Sure.
I mean, I'm not gonna tell you what to buy and whatnot.
Would you call Mortal Kombat 11 one of the best fighting games of this console generation?
No, because I don't have enough experience with fighting games to decide that.
Fair answer. Fair answer. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think it's difficult. again, with our limited perspective, like we can comment on what we know. We can say, yes, this was definitely wrong. This sounds like a bad situation. Sometimes you get half of the story, or you get part of a story, and you don't really understand how everything works in context, and like how So I think it's largely, I think that the kinds of things that you see like Kotaku and some of these other people doing are great because like it gets the people directly involved stories out there and their perspectives out there, which is the best that you can possibly do, because I really think it's up to the industry to be able to sort itself out, and I think one of the biggest quote unquote solutions is places like Insomniac, which keeps getting awards for being like one of the best places to work in the state or whatever.
And we can prop them up.
Yeah.
And we can say like it's Insomniac is doing it right. You can say that on podcasts and feel good about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
They
like
make
if
good
you
games.
make a competitive studio and you start pulling the talent from these other studios, then that gives people less incentive to work at some place where they're getting treated like crap.
Yeah. A big part of what NetherRealm is they're just the only place in Chicago. You know what I mean? If you want to work on a big game, you're working at
It's not
NetherRealm.
California, where we have tons of studios.
Right. And so if you're just entering the market, you know what I mean? You're new, they have you.
I don't have a lot of insight to how Nintendo works, but I know like there's a lot of people like in that treehouse. Those people like I interviewed like 15 years ago. Like they're still there. So there's got to be like pretty decent to work at Nintendo if you're going to be around that long.
Sure. Yeah. Treehouse is its own thing, though. I don't know. Jones, you have a final take on that?
I think it also works for just anybody. It's one thing to to focus on Riot and NetherRealm and any company that you find out the coverage
Epic
of
a couple
Anthem was
weeks
great.
ago?
Epic, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of like when somebody on Wall Street gets nabbed, for doing something illegal. You have to wonder like that's not the only guy on Wall Street doing this.
Yeah.
This is not the only company that we're going to have to worry about. These
Yeah.
we just have to kind of focus story by story, project by project, and. So I hope across the board, everyone in this business is feeling the heat a little bit. And so, yeah, I think if we continue to be realistic about companies that we've heard things about, projects that even something like Sonic, where it's just like, oh, got to get those graphic designers to fix that. It's like, wait a minute. I think everyone kind of responded much faster than I think we would have 10 years ago of like, that's not the solution. Hold on. And I think immediately thinking about them, I remember even 10, 15 years ago, the CG artists in the film industry started, complaining that like, and speaking out about poor work conditions. And,
Apparently
and
that's still
not
bad, too.
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah, not a ton of ownership, and so I just think when it's frustrating to hear about another example of this, like another company that we missed or someone that was not under a watchful eye and was allowed to get to this point. I like the fact that this is a part that we are talking about this right now on the podcast, that this is something that keeps coming up and doesn't feel like, man, this topic again. It's like, no, this is obviously very important. And while, when you see a name like NetherRealm pop up, like, damn, I like them, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm glad that I know, even if, all this is true or not, I don't know. Is this as deep as the rabbit hole goes? I don't know. But it's nice to just have it in the conversation. And I think that's our responsibility is to keep it there.
Sure.
Not to be like, oh, right, that's like such a 2019 thing. Like, no, clearly this is a major shift. It's going to take a long time.
I also think, sort of as we were talking about with Insomniac, tell people when things are good. Let people know where the good places are.
Sony Santa Monica seems
Let
pretty
people
nice.
know when
Sure.
these bad places improve. Like
just Santa
I
Monica
think
Studio.
like we really need to have like a good eye on like how this stuff is progressing and like how widespread it is. So it feels if you're in the midst of it and you go from job to job to job and it just feels like it's everywhere, then like what's the hope? Like where is the good place that I can go? Who are the people I can really turn to get a great job?
I like that point.
Yeah.
Brad, you had one too?
Nope. I
Okay.
agree with Bloworth on that, though.
Great. That was a fun discussion. We're going to do one quick one. We'll save it for next week. My vow to you, audience. We'll do Pokemon or Animal next week.
You're going to forget
Highlight
Come
it.
on.
I will not forget it. Because
Well, now that you said the title,
Detective
there's no way.
Pikachu is coming out. Right. We'll do it
okay,
after
sure.
the launch. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll do
gonna
that
miss
next
it.
week.
I won't be here next week.
Oh, Jones.
It's fine. It's okay.
No, we're doing it. We're doing
No,
it.
man, you have somebody else on. You have somebody else on.
No. We're doing it right now.
Yeah, you'll have Damiani on
It's
next
like,
time, probably.
it's on the panel or somebody.
Okay, all right. So this
Pokemon
is,
fan.
as always, from Tanner Methvin, in honor of Detective Pikachu. These are either a Pokedex entry or a description of a real animal.
Oh, jeez.
A host-parasite pair in which the parasite mushroom has taken over the host bug prefers damp places.
Pokedex?
Yeah, it's a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so direct. Yeah.
Jones, you might
I
know this
wasn't
from
sure
Red
how
and
we were
Blue.
buzzing in on that one.
Do you remember this one? We
that's
had a great time
Parasect.
talking about. Yes, Jones. Yes, dude. That's
I
exactly
could
what that
picture
is.
it, but I couldn't remember the name.
I'm so happy I got it right.
Me too. They never truly sleep, only needing 8 minutes of rest every 12 hours.
That sounds
That's
like
a real
I would
animal.
say
It's a hummingbird.
I go real.
Ants.
An ant.
Ants, yeah, man.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. What a strange creature ants are. The organs which produce its electricity make up 80% of its body.
That's real.
Real.
Real, I guess? Yeah.
How are you saying that's real? The organs which produce its electricity
Yeah.
make up 80% of its body. What is that?
No, I'm going to say Pokemon. That sounds
like
goofy.
That sounds like an eel.
That's
Yeah,
an
it's
eel.
eel.
That's
Yeah.
an eel.
Or
It's
just
the skin. You're
Zapdos.
talking about the skin, right?
and lots of deep sea creatures. Well, the other thing too is we played this game enough that like I could tell you, electricity. Well, that can't be a real thing. That's got to be a
you're
Pokemon
working
because
backwards on
electricity.
these.
And
I
like,
thought
no,
it was Zapdos, dude.
Yeah, I know, man.
I followed for it.
If its body gets too damp, it will die. So, in a process reminiscent of sweating, its eyes expel moisture.
Pokemon.
Okay, that's our only take. It is a Pokemon.
Yeah.
What Pokemon is that?
Bonsly.
What the hell is that?
Getting too
He's
damp that you die is called drowning.
the pre-evolution of Pseudo-Woodo.
Oh, what?
Oh.
What?
Weird.
Yeah, he's like a little potted plant, Jones.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Pokemon's out of control, man.
Too damp, it will die. It is out of control. It can expand
water in this.
the focus of its eyes, enabling it to see objects in the far distance as if it were using binoculars.
Real animal, owl.
Pokemon?
Pokemon.
That's a good guess. An owl. That's a Pokemon.
Huh.
Is it an owl Pokemon?
No, it's an alligator called Crocodile, who's really cool.
Dude, that sounds cool.
Yes.
I've never seen this guy before. Might
Expand
mean
the
to look
focus
him
of its
up.
eyes. Yeah, Crocodile, you'll have a good time looking up that
Cool.
big boy. Its tongue can accelerate to the speed of 60 miles per hour in 1/100th of a second.
That's a chameleon.
Oh my god.
It's a chameleon.
Right. It's Yoshi.
Blood, how did you know?
Bloodworth knows weird facts.
This game's not fair when blood's on the table.
Tongue speed of a chameleon. You know,
Yeah.
nothing associated with the traits we commonly, understand and remember about chameleons. Specifically, tongue speed.
Wow.
Not a toad, not a frog.
Tongue speed.
Tongue speed. People have driven it almost to the point of extinction. In the evenings, it sings plaintively as it seeks what few others of its kind still remain.
That sounds Pokemon.
That's
Pokemon?
a very Pokemon description. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, that's a Pokemon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like way too
'Cause, like,
specific and sad.
What I like about that one, it's the reverse
Horses,
psychology.
but in Mongolia.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's the reverse psychology, but it's like two on the nose. Yeah, Lapras. That's Lapras.
Aw.
I know, isn't that sad? The oil that seeps from its body is really smooth. For people troubled by bad skin, this oil is an effective treatment.
We'll go
Pokemon.
real animal.
Real?
That's a Pokemon. And it is so gross. Cinchino is like, I don't even know how to describe this animal. It is very hairy, but it's got like a big old hairy scarf, and it should not have oils. This thing should not have oils. Their fins have evolved into hand-like limbs that allow them to walk across the sea floor.
Pokemon.
Real.
Whoa, Pokemon.
That's real.
Whoa, what is it?
Blood, do you know what that is?
I can picture it, but I don't think I remember the name.
It's good. Well, I'll remember the name after this day. It's called a handfish.
Oh, that's not what I said. Well,
So if anyone asks you what fish walks around on its hands on the ocean floor, it is a handfish.
Great naming.
Can you imagine James Cameron with the lights just on the bottom? I think I see something.
That's a handfish.
See an Avatar 3.
Horrifying.
I'd swim right out, yeah. It stretches its saggy skin up to its neck to protect itself. The saggier their skin, the more respect they garner.
Pokemon?
Pokemon.
Real animal.
That's a Pokemon.
Oh.
Respect.
So I don't know if either of you played Black and White. Who is this Pokemon?
I didn't play it. I don't know.
Ben's playing it, but I don't.
Nekomon. I don't know.
Scraggy.
Scraggy?
Scraggy.
That's just like Scooby-Doo saying Shaggy.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle.
Scraggy.
How many Pokemon end with Amon? Any?
I don't believe so, dude.
I don't
It's
think
the
so.
Digimon. The Digimon end with
Yeah,
Mon.
it's all
Agumon.
Digimon.
Yeah. Agumon is, in fact, a Digimon. But also not up to its skin. Every depiction of Scraggy, it's just picking it up over its belly button. The gas from its rear end has the power to cause paralysis for up to 3 hours.
Pokemon.
Real animal.
Pokemon.
That's a real animal.
Yes.
What is it?
Yes.
A beaded lacewing,
Excuse me, that's a
Whoa.
Really?
Pokemon.
but the rear end gas only works on termites.
Oh, come on.
Sure.
I'm
And
sorry.
you have to concentrate it, right? Like how would you ever?
Lace
How
wing
could
is-
you trace that?
They're usually like bright green with like see-through wings.
Ew. So it's a bug?
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks.
Ew. It's like a moth. What is this thing? Do not Google. If it's not too late, do not Google beaded
Don't
lacewing.
Google.
I don't want to see that bug in its
Yeah,
gas.
close that.
Oh.
Get it out of here.
And so what? It's just like tooting to paralyze a bunch of termites. So come on, dude. All right, so that's it for this week. Next week's bet. It's time for bets. Rage 2 will be released Tuesday, May 14th. How many Twitch viewers will it have at this point next week? Brandon Jones.
125K.
Ooh, that's a big streamer. There's a big streamer involved. Daniel Bloodworth.
I said 23K.
Yeah, high hopes.
Brad.
150K.
Ooh. I went with 15,402 people.
Oh, so you're under blood. Okay.
Let me lock that in. Yeah, we have a good range there, Jones. We could do okay. Actually, no, blood blocked me off.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But
you
you're
got me.
below it though, which would be terrible.
Sure. Last week's bet was about that Sonic the Hedgehog trailer. That was a buzz last week. At this point last week, it had 104,000 thumbs up, 144,000 thumbs down. And we were going to bet on what the differential would be at this point this week. Jones, you bet there would be 90,000 thumbs between the two. Ben bet 100K. Damiani bet 70K. I bet 44K. Ian bet 60K. Let me just say, this trailer's had a rough week. Rough 7 days. Thumbs up is up to 348. Hey, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's up 3.5 times, right? 617,000 thumbs down. Creating a differential of 269,000 thumbs.
Wow.
So high bet was Ben with 100K. Holy moly.
Good job, Ben.
People tuning into that trailer and giving it that thumbs down. I had figured maybe I don't know YouTube. I had figured it would kind of had its run last week.
Yeah.
But yeah, just more
Because I
and
thought
more
it had
people-
its run already. Like
Yeah.
people already hate this design.
Yeah.
So we're just hating it more now. Right. So how long can that go on for?
A long time.
a long time.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. So that brings our score to Scrappy Little Pigs 10.
Whee!
Gorgeous Gorillas 8.
Damn.
Let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. That is, yeehaw. That is the website you would go to if you are curious about the Easy Allies, things that we do. And also if you want to support the Easy Allies, that is the way to do it. Patrons who give us $5 or more a month get early access to this very podcast. They get it on Wednesdays as opposed to Fridays. And they submit to our goofy segments, Love and Respect and Glenny's Cauldron. Yeah. That's our Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Oh, God. I just got an IM from you know who. Kassarar. And,
These IMs are always perfectly timed.
yeah.
It's kind of
Always-
annoying.
I know-
No, he's got a microphone.
He does
It's
this
the only
on
way.
purpose.
It's the only way you can
Yeah.
do it.
Or some sort of, wizard magic.
He's like, and that's how you go to patreon.com/easyallies. Return.
Yeah. He says that he saved us, we saved him 2 doubloons. Because he's so confident
Oh.
that getting the people to respawn once they're off camera was the right one to pick.
I could see, I could not necessarily speed runs, but I could see like hard mode streams going where the camera's just constantly spinning and they just want more and more enemies, Like,
Yeah.
I could see people turning that into a plus.
Dude, power leveling.
I think this is going to be a great game that he's making, and it's going to infuriate him.
The other thing is, like, to me, it can't be overtly bad. Like, if you get horrible reviews, no one's going to play you, and then you can't affect as many people.
Yes.
You're trying to make a vile game.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Not necessarily just bad. And so maybe we are just making his game just bad with those respawns. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm a little excited about that. Bloodworth, you are in the Ben seat.
Ooh.
You get the right and responsibility to share your Twitter handle with the world. You get to promote any Easy Allies video you'd like to promote. You get the final word, and anything you've disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped in your head right now, and you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
My Twitter handle is @dbloodworth2. For things to watch, check out my Borderlands 3 preview. Just for my take on things. I talked to Brandon for like 40 minutes. And,
Didn't mention the Twitch thing at all.
What's that?
The one thing I'm most excited about?
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't something that I was demoing
sure.
or
No,
playing.
that's why it's
so.
interesting. Lots of stuff you can take from a preview event.
And they announced that like I think the day before or something like that.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. Final word, man.
All we did, we just talked about
man.
Capcom a lot this episode.
Yeah.
And you basically just agreed with all of our opinions. Had nothing to say that was wrong about how we feel about Capcom's games. You know, we said that Mega Man Legends is perhaps the best Capcom game.
I haven't played it, so I don't know.
If you want to use that for your final
skeptical,
word,
but-
go ahead. But I just gave you a great final word, man. Take it.
What?
How much silence is included in the final word? You know, how much time can we give Blood to?
Can you time out of a final word?
Time out of a
Yeah.
final word?
Can I just have 30 seconds of silence, please?
Oh,
word.
I just finished Astrobot. So yeah, play Astrobot. There you go. There's a final word for you.
Okay.
That's a great game. Pro tip, do like me, if you can't afford a PlayStation VR, find someone you can borrow one from. And yeah, play it that way. And we'll see you before the next Blood Moon rises.
Sexy.